Hey guys, I wanted to make another video about the Lord leading you and teaching you. I've been making quite a few videos recently talking about how you don't really need a person or preacher or teacher to call no man, no living man, no earthly man that we have, that mortal, carnal man, your teacher. I've made quite a few videos recently about that topic, and I want to go over some more verses to prove my point, and I also want to give a little testimony, a story of what happened to me recently, and how this can apply to everything, and how when we actually listen to the Lord, He leads us into better things than what another person or what we can do ourselves. This one wasn't somebody leading me, and I was listening to them. This was me. The example I'm going to give, the testimony, was me leading myself or convincing myself that I knew better than the Lord. But it applies to both. You can, we can convince ourselves that we know better than the Lord, and we know what to do, and we end up going astray. Or we can listen to someone else and put them as a teacher, and not actually go into Scripture and read what the Lord has to say, and they can lead us astray. The example I'm going to give isn't as big as some of the things that I've given in the past, but it's still, even though it's not as big, it's still going to show, I think, how when you trust in the Lord, He knows you better than you know yourself. And when you trust in Him, He will give you the desires of your heart, and He's there to help you, not to hurt you. He's there to make things better, not to make them worse. Anyway, I'll get into the story in just a second. I brought up, this is Isaiah 30 in the New American Standard, and I wanted to read basically just 19 through 22 and talk about this. And this is, like I said, in the New American Standard, this is Isaiah 30, and I'm going to start at 19, actually, not just down here at 20. And it says, "For you people in Zion, inhabited in Jerusalem, you will weep no longer. He will certainly be gracious to you at the sound of your cry. When He hears it, He will answer you." And at verse 20 right here, he says, "Although the Lord has given you bread of deprivation and water of oppression, He, your teacher, will no longer hide Himself, but your eyes will see your teacher." And that's a prophecy also. That's a prophecy, going into Messiah, into Jesus. But anyway, verse 21, "Your ears will hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it,' whenever you turn to the right or turn to the left. And you will desecrate your carved images plated with silver, and cast your metal images plated with gold." And I guess cast out, it means throw them out. Anyway, he goes on to say, "You will scatter them as filthy things and say to them, 'Be gone.'" All right, so this is just a great verse. It is also a prophetic verse, but it's also talking about how the Lord will whisper to you. That still small voice will whisper and teach you. He says He, your teacher, and He calls Him. I wanted to get this point across too, is there's multiple verses, and I'm going to dive into more about that when I get into over here. But I went over here. All right. The Lord is our teacher, and He will guide us. That still small voice will lead us into things, and we don't always have to go run to a man to have the Bible explained. You don't have to go to your study Bible and commentary. Now, there's times where if you're really struggling because of a language or a translation issue, you can go and read a different translation, use a study Bible, and then if you really are still confused, pray first, obviously. You can go ask a person and see if they can help explain some complicated verse. I understand when it's like there's translation problems and, different, because through the years, and through the, different translations over the years, it can get kind of confusing at times, but most of it is pretty plain. If you get a good translation in modern English, and I don't mean like a paraphrase or like one of the like the Message Bible. I'm speaking of something like the New King James and New American Standard. Most of the stuff is easy to understand in those. I don't think you have to go if you're still struggling. The farthest I would go would be like the NIV. The NIV gets some things wrong, but the point is you don't have to go to a man or to a YouTube video like mine. Go to the Lord. I just want to make YouTube videos to point you back in the direction, so when you come search, you go and you're pointed back towards your Bible, back to praying. And just bring to mind that when you keep your eyes upon Christ, He will take care of it. Now, sometimes He doesn't always give us an immediate answer to things, but Jesus told us Himself that if we keep asking, keep seeking, keep knocking, we will find. He will come. Just keep doing it. Keep seeking the Lord. Keep seeking the answer. Keep seeking the truth, and He will reveal it. Sometimes He doesn't reveal it immediately because some things are hard to explain with just a word or a verse. You have to learn them in your spirit. You have to learn them through an example of something that happens in your life. And that's why I have this right here. Now, this is evangelicalbible.com. This is they sell like premium Bibles. And this is the story, the testimony I was going to get into. And this is what I was talking about. The lesson of the story that I learned is that the Lord will help you even in the little things. Even when you think that you're asking for, you might ask for something where you might not think it's that big of a deal. The Lord cares about you and everything. He cares about everything, even what you would consider not that important. So for about 5 years or so, I wanted to get a New American Standard Bible. I wanted a nicer one. A lot of the ones, I have a Lockman over here that was falling apart. It was printed in China, and a lot of people have the same problem where the bonded leather cover was pulling apart, and I had a Zondervan over here, but the print's really small in it, but I still like it. But I wanted to get like a decent size, but not too big, New American Standard Bible. And I wanted it to be well made. I didn't want it to fall apart like the Lockmans were. The Lockman made they're the ones responsible for the New American Standard translation, and a lot of their older, like, I don't know exactly what year they made them, but a lot of their older product were not that good of quality. Even their like more expensive, the covers would come off. They would pull apart from the book binding or whatever, the actual pages. Anyway. So I was looking around, and there wasn't that many, options available. And I came across a couple of different ones. And at the time, there was Schuyler. They're a premium Bible. Allen didn't have any out at the time. They do make some, but they're even more expensive, and I didn't want to go that route. And Schuyler made some, but they were out of stock, and they were out of stock for a very long time. So the only option I had was a Cambridge and a Cambridge Clarion, which is and at this time they have a little bit more options, but even then, I'll get to the point in just a second. This was basically the only option I had, and then or to get a different translation. Well, I prayed about it. I said, Lord, I want a New American Standard Bible, a decent. It's my favorite translation, but like it and the King James are basically all I use. And I heard clearly in my spirit, get the Clarion. And I was like, okay. And then I went and I ordered a NIV Schuyler Bible, a personal size Quintel. You can go look these up. I'll leave a link to Evangelical if you want to go look on here. This isn't really about Bible purchasing or anything like that. But it's to show that I didn't listen. I thought I knew better. I said, well, this is a single column, paragraph style. I don't really like that. I like dual column, and it looks kind of thick, and I was reasoning and using my logic instead of just listening directly to the Lord. Well, I got the NIV, and I liked it. I liked it at first, but then it started. There's some problems. The print in the personal size Quintel in the other one, and I should have brought it up, but you can go look it up if you want to. I didn't like how light the print was. It was kind of like it wasn't bold enough for me, and wasn't big enough. If it was either a little bigger or a little bolder, it would have been fine. But I didn't really like the print, and that's the most important thing. You need to be able to read your Bible and enjoy reading it. Anyway, fast forward, this year, I finally broke down and just bought the Clarion. Because I couldn't really decide, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to listen to what the Lord said a long time ago. I'm just going to buy the Clarion. Come to find out, I absolutely love the Clarion. I wish I would have got it 5 years ago. It's my favorite Bible. I think it's the perfect, I didn't think I would like a single column like this, and I thought it might be too thick, but for me, it's exactly what I wanted. It's my perfect Bible. I'll probably end up buying more Clarions, maybe in some other translations. I actually ended up buying a cheaper version. They make 3 different versions. There's a goat skin, calf skin, and a calf split, and you can get whatever you think is whatever is in your price range. I ended up, saving up money and using some gift money to get the goat skin version, and I recommend that if you can afford it. If you can't, they're all good. Obviously, the calf skin is a little bit, well, maybe not so obvious if you don't know anything about premium Bibles. The calf skin's a little bit less expensive than the goat skin, and the calf split is a little less expensive than the calf skin. And you can go look that up and figure out. I recommend them, but you need to pray, and because some people, they don't like it as much. It's my favorite, and I wish I would have got it years ago. I've got a couple of different premium Bibles, and some that were actually more expensive, some that were gifts that were more expensive, and I like this better. Like, it's my favorite. But the point was, is I could have got this years ago. I just thought I knew better than the Lord. I thought, well, I wouldn't like it. And if I would have just listened, he knew me better than I knew myself. So that's one thing I wanted to tell on myself in a testimony about how just listen to the Lord. He's there to prosper you. He's there for your benefit. He's there to help you. He's there to protect you. He's there to teach you and lead you. And that's why I go on, and I've got Isaiah. This is Isaiah 48, and I'm going to read just the highlighted portion down here in verse 18. It says, I am the Lord your God who teaches you to benefit, who leads you in the way you should go. This is just going on. This is going over of what I've been talking about in my past couple of videos. I don't remember how many back that I've been talking about this. Is how the Lord, he will guide you. He will teach you. He is your teacher. It says he who teaches you. This is why Jesus said, call no man teacher. Call no man rabbi, because you have one teacher. I'll go on, and this is Psalm 23. And most of us know what Psalm 23 is, but this is, summing up that how God will lead you in all things. And if he will, it's not just the big things, though. It's the little choices in our life. He will also. And once you start to listen to him in the little things and realize that he's there to benefit you, then it starts to grow faith, and then you can go and listen to him in, or will listen to him in the bigger things in life. And this is, Psalm 23. I guess I can read all Psalm 23. It's not that long, but most of you already know what this says. This is, for some reason, this is in the New King James Version. I don't know how many of, okay, some of these are. It doesn't really matter. All right, that one's not at the end. This one's in the New American Standard. I don't know why. Okay, this is in the New King James Version. It doesn't really matter, though. All right, the Lord is my, the Lord is my shepherd. This is Psalms 23. It says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. See how he's leading you. The Lord is his shepherd. He is the sheep. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep reading the Psalm 23. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And he goes on in verse 5, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And most people already know that. You might not know that, but most Christians, this is like, I don't know. This is one that I remember, I learned when I was young, but this is Psalm 91, 7 through 16. And I've got, this is just 1,000. Okay, this is in the New King James Version also, and this is verse 7. He says, 1,000 may fall at your right side, or fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion, the cobra, the young lion, and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because he set his love upon me. Therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him, and with long life I will satisfy him and show my salvation. All right, now this is also a messianic prophecy or psalm. It's basically, it's quoted in the New Testament as being, or talking about Jesus. But we have to remember, as Jesus is, as Christ is, so are we in this world. So we have this same promise, because as Christ is, so are we in this world. He will do this for you too. But you have to get, and this was the point I was making before, is you have to understand and trust him in the little things, and know that he's there and knows you better than you know yourself, and wants to help you, and he's there for your, to prosper you. He's there to, and it's not some prosperity gospel. He's there to prosper you and give you the things, the deep desires of your heart, not the wants of your heart necessarily. He does give us our wants, but sometimes we want things, or we think we want things, but we don't actually want them. So he knows us better than we know ourselves, and he will take care of you like that. And once you get, you understand he's doing it, that he will do it with the little things, like he will give me the answer
to the Bible that would fit. That's something like I could read any Bible, but I wanted one that was that I could travel with, that wasn't going to fall apart, and that I could read it for a long period of time and not strain my eyes. And that was the Clarion, and I thought I knew better. But once you start to trust the Lord, I should have trusted the Lord in His decision making, and it would have saved me a little bit of money, because there's some Bibles that I shouldn't have even bought, but I have. I'll probably end up giving them away. Maybe the most expensive ones I'll keep and give it, I don't know, as like a inheritance to my children or something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. All right. This is Proverbs 3:6-16. And this is just going on, more about acknowledging the Lord, listening to the Lord, and He will make your path straight. So he goes on to say, and this is in the New American Standard, unlike the others. I don't know, it started picking up the New King James, but that's fine. All right, so this is Proverbs 3:6-16, the New American Standard Bible. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. And this was my problem, was I was wise in my own eyes. I thought I knew myself. I thought I knew, I wouldn't like this. But the Lord knew me better than I knew myself. And this isn't the first time the Lord's done this. I've seen so many little things, and it probably won't be the last. I'm sure it won't be the last. But where I thought I knew better. I thought I knew what I wanted. And the Lord told me directly, no, this is the way to go. You're going to not, this is going to end badly, or this won't be what you think it is. And I didn't listen. And I think we've all gone through that, and I'm sure I'll end up going through that again in the future, but hopefully it won't, I guess it wasn't as big as some of the things in the past with the Bible, but so that's, I guess, a benefit. I guess that's showing something. Maybe, some improvement. I don't know. All right, so this is basically God verses about God teaching, and I brought this up just to show how many they are. And you can use this as knowing Jesus. You can go and I might leave a link to this spot. I guess I could. You basically can talk or type in, and it'll talk about different topics. You can search for verses on Jesus teaching or verses on healing and stuff like that. But the point of bringing this up was to show how many verses there are about the Lord will teach you. There's a ton of them, and how He will lead you. This actually doesn't even have the ones where He will lead you. This is just the ones where He will teach you, I believe. This is just the ones where He will teach you. So I'm not going to go through and read all of these. That would take forever. But I just wanted to show you quickly how much is it. It's not just the New Testament that says stuff like this. Actually, it's a lot more in the Old Testament, if we're being honest. I mean, it's more in the Old Testament. It speaks to the Lord is your teacher. You do not need a rabbi. And Jesus basically is confirming that when He talks about that in the New Testament. When He told the woman at the well, there's a time coming, and now is, that worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. You won't need to go to Jerusalem. You can worship anywhere you want, and He will lead you. You don't need to go have the same setup that they had during the Old Covenant, where you had to go through a high priest and you had to go to different people so they could tell you about the Lord. And a lot of denominations have that now. You have to go to, like the Catholics, you have to go basically to the priest and confess sins to him. They always create someone between you and the Lord. And you don't have that anymore. The veil was torn, meaning that anyone can enter into the Holy of Holies at that point, or that basically it means that the Holy of Holies is entered into you, but that there is no rituals, there is no priesthood, because our high priest is in heaven, and we can go directly to him in prayer. All right, there's a new tab here, and that's about it. Those was just the Clarion. I didn't exit out of that. It was just looking up for this. I'm going to leave a link here if you want to look up these Bibles. I mean, I recommend the Clarion, but pray and figure out which one is best for you if you wanted to get a nicer Bible. It's just something that happened to me, and the whole point of this was just to show how the little things, we need to listen to the Lord, because he's not telling us to, he's not telling us to do these things just because he wants to make rules. He's telling us to do these things, or he tells us to do things. He reveals things to us, not as an opinion, as a fact. Like, it was just a fact that I would have liked this more, but I just didn't listen. It was a fact that it would have been my favorite. And he knew that, and he told me, and I have to believe. It basically comes down to what Jesus said is believing. All right, that's about all I wanted to talk about. God bless and take care.